My guest for this episode is Mazen Aloul, the founder and CEO of WebQuest DMCC, a digital agency based out in Dubai. They specialize in SEO in English and Arabic and have worked with hundreds of clients around the world. Thanks for joining me today here, Mazen.
Thanks, John. It's a pleasure.
So I'm excited to hear about your journey, especially you living out in Dubai. How did you get into this industry at first? Like, is it a very popular industry out in United Emirates?
I think it started to pick up. The whole digital space started to pick up a few years ago. But the reason I got into SEO in the first place is I've been on an entrepreneur for some time. So I've been out here in Dubai for over 18 years. I just had finished my undergrad in the US. So I finished from Western Michigan University in a town called Kalamazoo, and moved out to Dubai in 2002. Been on my own since 2005. My last venture was I was part of a partnership, a communications agency, where the partners, we decided to dissolve the company, not because it wasn't doing good, it was actually doing really well, but the main founder and CEO wanted to move back to the US. But it was through there that I got exposed to the digital marketing space and SEO in specific. And SEO appealed to me more than anything else. So in 2014, that's when I decided to venture out on my own. You know, you start as a consulting job here and there, and 2015 was my first hire, and now we're a team of 5 full-timers, a couple of part-timers, and going strong.
That's amazing to hear, man. I love that. So tell me a little bit about even prior to starting and your time in school in Michigan. So did you grow up in Dubai? And then what made you decide to do education or post-education in the US?
So I grew up in Jordan, actually, here in the Middle East. Okay. So I finished my high school in Jordan, and I wanted to do my undergrad in computer science. So I looked at different options, and the U.S., of course, having a number of great universities and programs. My parents, or more specifically my mom's condition was, if I were to go there, I had to be around family. So my aunt lives out in Kalamazoo, and that was a natural choice. So that's how I ended up there.
Amazing. And then did you study computer science in the US?
Yes, that's where I did my undergrad in computer science. Graduated in April of 2002. And if you remember at the time, it was just after the dot-com crash. So as a fresh graduate with a computer science degree, I had to compete with over 500,000 laid off personnel from the IT sector looking for jobs. So it just didn't make sense for me to stay around. Packed up, headed to Dubai, and been here since.
Amazing. That's amazing. So tell me, did you ever venture north to Canada? Because that's where I reside, because you're really close in Michigan. That's Windsor, just down the street.
Yeah, I've been to Detroit a few times. I saw the borders, but unfortunately, I actually never made it across the border. Have quite a few friends, Canadian friends here in Dubai. There's a large expat community from everywhere in the world. But yeah, I think it's still on my list to visit. Hopefully, once we're out of these conditions and we can travel again, definitely will aim to make it there.
That's amazing. So tell me a little bit about, you growing up, right? Did you always want to be a business owner, or were there people in your, circle, family, friends, community that really pushed you to become who you are today?
I wouldn't say we were pushed, my brothers and I. So my father did start his own software business in Jordan in the mid-90s, and that was probably my primary inspiration going into school or university, is to get a computer science degree, since it was a software warehouse, come back, work with my dad, help him out. So that was definitely part of it, but under no circumstances were we pressured into it. It's something I wanted to do, and yeah, just built on top of it.
So did you return and help out your parents with the family business?
Yeah, almost every summer I went back to Jordan, and every summer I interned and stayed there. So I did work over the summers, but what actually happened in 2005, after 3 years in Dubai, that's when my father decided to open the Dubai office for his software business. And I joined initially, and then I ran the Dubai office of the software business for 8 years after that.
Oh, amazing. So you
Yeah.
actually had a chance to oversee and hire people and run like processes and
Not at the beginning, but yes.
eventually. Gotcha.
Yes, got to that point with
So
time, absolutely.
so did your dad in particular like start you off right at the bottom and then get you going, growing and learning all
Yep.
the ropes to the trade?
Pretty much. Pretty much. So yeah, started off as product support, had a tech background, of course, so I could communicate with the developers, and also like a business requirements analyst, so gather what the clients wanted, sometimes provided some troubleshooting. So it's just that technical communication back and forth. Definitely a lot of skills there, because developers have their own language. They understand things under certain requirements, but people who are using the software have a completely different set of
Yeah.
requirements, even points of view, and aligning these two sides sometimes is a little bit tricky. So you just need to make sure that things are translated properly and done on time.
No, that's amazing because I totally agree. Like people as users, we don't take the same terminology. We don't expect things. We just expect things done immediately. However, technical code and the developers, they understand what really goes on and how long it really takes to implement
Yeah,
any change, right?
absolutely.
So I get where you're coming from, but I love the fact that you start off with like customer service or, just dealing with the two sides, right? Getting to know how things actually work as a business. Um,
Yeah.
so I guess moving along, like 8 years working in the Dubai office, is that a point of where you actually help your company, like your dad's company, with SEO as well? Like, how did you
Oh, not
get
yet.
into? Okay.
Not yet. So the software business was or still is actually still up and running, but its primary focus is money market software.
Okay.
So it's fund asset management trading platforms for stockbrokers, investment firms based in the Middle East.
Okay.
But at that time, this was 2013. For me, it was time to learn something new. So sometimes you become too comfortable in your zone. And I think at that point, it was time for me to learn something new. Had my conversation with my father. He was very supportive. He said, you do whatever you want to do. So I stepped out of my role, handed everything back to the head office in Jordan. And that's when I went into the partnership with two other individuals, where it was a communications agency. So me coming from a tech/finance background into communications, everything is just completely new. The business was going really well, but as I said, the main founder wanted to move back to the US. And without her being on board, it's just not easy to run something that you barely have any experience with. So, but it was there that I got exposed to, digital marketing and more specifically SEO. And as I said, it appealed to me, and I just decided to follow that path on my own, and it just grew from that point onwards.
That's awesome. So I guess was your dad very inspirational in for you to transition into like your own kind of ventures because you saw growing up what it was like to have control of your time or having freedom? Is that
Oh,
something that you
control of
kind
your
of
time. Oh man.
okay?
He was very supportive, absolutely. So he said, I mean, you can do whatever you want to do. If you need anything, we're here to help you out. But
Of
if you
course.
want to figure things out, then yeah, by all means. So absolutely, the support was there, and that provided me the freedom to make my own choices and do your own mistakes and hiccups and learn learn on your own.
Well, that's great to hear because a lot of people who are in their entrepreneurial journey, either doing bootstrapping or they're side hustling and trying to figure things out, right? They don't have the support. They don't understand
Yeah.
what it takes. They don't have people that like a father figure or a mentor or a coach or someone that they could rely and bounce ideas off and like teach them the tricks, right? To the trade. So
Yeah.
I love to hear like, for you, it was someone that was really part of your family that really helped you along the way because, a lot of people don't get it, right? Like they think, wow, you're the owner. You must have inherited all that or something. But really, it takes time because you started as, customer service rep, right?
Yeah, yeah. It definitely takes time, and I must say, the grass is always greener on the other side. So when you're part of a corporate, oh, look at these entrepreneurs, they have control over their time, they do whatever they want and whenever they want, etc. When you start on your own, you're like, I need to figure out a fixed salary, because you need to prospect, you need to build a pipeline, you need to pitch, to build a deck, a proposal, close the contract, deliver, and collect your payments. And if you have people on board, pay their salary. So it's just a completely different set of mental pressure, I guess. And that's where you always laugh for entrepreneurs. The grass is always greener on the other side, whether you're on this side or that. But yeah, it's definitely a learning curve. And I must say, when I started on my own here in Dubai 15 plus years ago, there was no ecosystem to help out people who were on their own, right? There was nothing in terms of mentors, incubators, even online. There's not much. But if you look at things today, even worldwide, there's just so many options, right? There's online courses. There are a lot of mentors out there who are willing to help, angel investors, incubators, etc. And I think it's just for the better, because people and governments are realizing that, that's the future. You can definitely get a good section of your economy up and running within the entrepreneurship space. And provide good opportunities for a percentage of the population.
I think over the last, I would say 5+ years, the acceleration of technology really helped elevate and scale and grow this whole incubators and, support system, right? Because it allows for people to give back, really, right? Because a lot of these people are here to support each other, build a community, build a tribe, to help one another, right? And this is one of the reasons I have this podcast, to really have a platform to help entrepreneurs get on with their journey. And hopefully it's all about inspiring them to do good, right? So I love the fact that, if you are already or not, I love helping others and mentoring others, because it gives me so much sense of purpose and why I'm doing it. It's like giving me meaning, right?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
So it's so rewarding.
Yeah, I am part of 4 or 5 other different programs, incubator/mentorship programs, where I help out other entrepreneurs, startups, because it's a learning curve.
Yeah, definitely. So growing up, did you ever want to be like your dad or be a business owner?
I don't think it was something I thought a lot about. I know I wanted to get into tech,
okay,
but I had no idea what that was.
Gotcha.
And growing up in the 80s and 90s, just things changed so quickly if you look at it back now, right? So internet coming in mid 90s, and it just skyrocketed from there. And even now, every couple of years, there's something completely new. Yeah, I know I wanted to be in tech. I don't know if I had that foresight back then. I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Even growing up, and now with technology, you don't even know what your career landscape journey will look like, right? Because each big corporation and company might be around or get bought out or sold or whatever. There's so much movement going on. It's not as stable as it once was. When I still love the olden days, where maybe that was 10 years ago, because technology has advanced so quickly. Olden days for us is pre-internet. Because without, think about how much has advanced with Google and advancements of technology, smartphones, right? It's crazy how powerful it is today, right?
No, absolutely.
So if you can give me some can you give me some examples of some of the biggest challenges that you've faced over the last couple of years running your own agency? Because I would love to hear how you overcame them.
Oh man, I think honestly, I think it's a it's never ending. Learning is a lifelong journey, right? And as an entrepreneur, people start because they're good at something. You know, technically they're good at something, whether this be SEO or accounting or whatever it is, you're good at that particular thing. However, that does not make you good at creating and running a business. So, I mean, I just had to learn a lot, either from people around or from reading, getting in touch or creating groups with other startup owners or other entrepreneurs. And I think just transitioning from a one man business to a business, just letting go and learning how to delegate, how to build internal processes, how to hold your staff accountable, having your monthly reviews, your 6-month reviews, your reporting structure. It's a shift, it's a shift in your mentality. And I can say it's still going. It's not something I've mastered, not even close, but being aware of this and striving towards that is probably the biggest shift I can say over the last 3-4 years. Is growing the team, delegating more, building processes so that you can scale your business. It's not you doing everything all the time. You have to, delegate and trust the people on board, set expectations properly, and the list goes on. And then looking at different sides of the business. So again, as an entrepreneur, at first you're in the business, but there comes a point where you have to pull yourself out and start working on the business. And again, there are just so many good references and books out there that can help that journey out. But the sooner you make that realization, the better off you'll be in not being overwhelmed and working 7 days a week and getting burnt out or anything. I think it's just finding that balance. Building out that balance would be the best advice I can give.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is everyone puts a lot of pressure on themselves as a solopreneur or an entrepreneur. And early days, if they don't reach out for support, it's a very lonely space. They stressed out themselves out trying to learn other skill sets that they're not strong at, or they have no desire of actually learning themselves. So the sooner you branch off and outsource or hire VAs or understand like other people that you can trust and hold them accountable and delegate, all that stuff is so unbelievably powerful, especially if you're looking to grow and scale business, right? So I love the fact that at least over the last 7 years, like that's how I started my agency as well. But I've learned, I've grown, I continually make mistakes, and it's okay because it's a journey, right? But people are very short term, and in terms of like they want and expect things right away because of what's going on in the world today. Like social media, I think, has transformed people's reaction to everything to be instant. All right, from Twitter feeds to any post or share or comment. It's like if you don't respond within 2 hours, I'm going somewhere else. Right. But honestly, I slow things down, and I'm like, if they're really serious, then they'll understand like life it's not the end of the world. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
But even like as a business owner, you need to grow as well, right? Like I've learned over the years, I overreacted a lot of times because as an owner, now you feel like your name's on the line, your brand's on the line. And if you don't take care of them, they may leave. But then it's also like coming to a realization that it's okay if they leave, as long as you did your best and you're, just being transparent with everything, it's fine, right?
Yeah. I think at the end, you can never please everybody. It's just not possible. So there will come circumstances where you won't be able to meet expectations, or their expectations are unrealistic, whatever that case may be. But I think you just need to be okay with believing that you delivered everything that you could believe to the best of your ability. And if you're working by that motto, or just following that in terms of a work ethic, then letting go shouldn't be that difficult. Don't beat yourself too hard when things happen like this, because they do, inevitably they do.
Exactly. And I think over the course of the years, once you realize who your real customers are, the ones that you want to go after. And that profile, like the avatar, we talk about that a lot in the SEO world.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about like trying to attract more of them, and everyone else, it's okay, right? Like there's other companies that will serve them better than you are, because you don't really, that your expertise and your focus is to deliver on the type of people you want to attract, right?
Yeah.
So you can't be best for everyone, just be the best for your tribe, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So advice wise, I know there were challenges over the years, but in terms of advice that people are maybe just starting off, what would you kind of give them? Because it is a very lonely journey out there for a lot of entrepreneurs.
So it's starting as a business owner, I'd say one is there are a lot of good books out there that I wish I picked them up earlier than I did. So that, I mean, so something like E-Myth or lately I've been just read Deep Work and Getting Things Done. Those are actually really, really good books to start off with. Another thing I did is I joined BNI, Business Network International. So it's a referral marketing platform. I'm pretty sure, yeah, they are in Canada. They're in 70 plus countries worldwide. But most of the people there are business owners. So initially, of course, the reason I joined was to get business, was to grow my business. I've been a member there for over 5 years, but what keeps me there is the value of the network. So after the first couple of years, there were 4 other business owners and myself that we got together and decided to create a mastermind. And we started really asking each other, digging each other, or let me rephrase that. We started acting as shareholders to each other's businesses, right? So, like, what is your pipeline like? Why are your collections so late? And we'd be harsh on each other. We still are. That we've been going on for a few years, but I think that group really helped put things in focus, because you need to snap out of working in the business to working on the business. And you need to do this with people you trust. And trust doesn't come overnight. It's people that, you're in contact with on a constant basis. You know them pretty well, and all sides involved are very comfortable sharing, because as this relationship progresses, you start sharing more and more details about your business. You can, open up your books and your financials and your balance sheets and, your pipelines and stuff like that. But taking a step back, I think it's crucial to surround yourself with other entrepreneurs, and start some sort of group in that aspect or along these lines where you hold each other accountable. You just need to meet once a month, but hold each other accountable to working on the business. And you can start very simple, but I think that exercise of you snapping out of working in the business, especially at the beginning, to focusing on what you want to do on the long term, to focusing on building a marketing plan, on your financials, on building a pipeline, paying attention to your collections, because a lot of times you really, payments can get delayed, and before you know it's end of the month and you have credit card bills to settle, or rent, or salaries, and suddenly there's no cash in your bank account. So what do you do? So just keeping an eye on all these different things that, as I said in the beginning, when most entrepreneurs go into business, they're good at one thing. They're good at delivering whatever it is they started the business for, but usually they're not good at running a business. And to run a business, there's all these different elements, and you'll be surprised to learn how how many of the same mistakes everybody does. So you learn from each other, and I think that's very valuable as you build your entrepreneurial journey, as you start building up your business.
That's amazing to hear, because it all boils down to like relationships and people that you can trust and share insights with, and building a community, a tribe, right? But it takes time. And, when you're starting off, like I said, it's very lonely, but there's entrepreneurs out there and business owners that are there to support one another. We're all in it together. We have the same focus and goal, which is yes, you want to support a community, your personal, cause, right? You're selling a product or service, do the best you can, but there's also a group of business owners within that. And we're always looking out for the best interests of each other. And in particular, this whole SEO world that we live in, me and yourself, as well as thousands of others, we're here for the sole reason of taking care of business owners and helping them succeed in this digital landscape, right? And
Yep.
that's the pure reason why we're in business. If we didn't have this real expectation of helping, then we wouldn't be doing what we'd be doing, right?
Yeah.
So I love hearing like that support system, that mastermind. And it all starts with either BNI or joining a Facebook group or going to a live conference or networking group or talking to your accountant, talking to your neighbor, right? If you're a bricks and mortar, anything to get the ball rolling, because it's all about opening up that communication. And don't be scared of reaching out to people, because that's one thing a lot of entrepreneurs are afraid of, right?
Yep.
They're like afraid of being judged about success, how they're doing. On the outside it may look good, but in the inside, like financial, it could be horrible, right?
Yeah, that's definitely true. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you need to reach out, and for a lot of people, it's like opening up, being honest, being transparent, because look, if you're not, 3-6 months down the road, you might not be in business again. And then you're going to regret and, figure out like, I should have done this. Well, don't should have, just do it, right? Go out and do something about it. That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And it opens up. So once you're in those circles with other entrepreneurs, you start getting in contact with business coaches, bigger mastermind groups, and it just leads to better and better networking. And with that comes more learning on, again, just snapping out of running in the business and moving into the position where you work on the business and grow the business.
And you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people that are looking to also grow and scale their business or be successful or always learn, right? So it's all about your core group of people that you spend the most time with. So if you spend your time with people that are successful, then ultimately you want to be like them as well, right?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
it's great. So in terms of, I know you run an agency, how has technology transformed your business over the last couple of years?
Well, there are a number of aspects to it. So one is the team and the communications. So we use Slack a lot. We use project management tools such as Asana. First, we started off with Trello, then now it's more on the Asana side. More and more getting into automation and machine learning. So as things progress and technology moves, you have to adapt to it. Otherwise, you're especially in our space, you're left behind, right? So yeah, it in terms of productivity tools, in terms of deliverables, looking at how to do the things that you do better, and how to scale up, because some of the websites that we work with are tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pages, and you can't do this on a manual human possible. You can't load them into Excel and go one row at a time. You need to figure out your patterns and your filters and your scripts and more recently machine learning into that. So yeah.
No, that's amazing, because as you know, this world we live in is evolving so quickly, right? And if you don't adapt to the change, you're going to be left behind, right? And there's always tools, software, equipment, just technology. And we revisit our stack every 6 months, right? Because it's so imperative. And you should do like demos to see what the newest features are in your existing stack, because even if you're venturing off to new ones and doing demos, you can always ask your existing, are you going to start implementing these features? Because I've been going to these demos and they have already incorporated, and I think it's very valuable, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't do something, I'm moving over, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's interesting, because we, as SEOers, we're on top of technology, but a lot of business owners are very, I guess, delayed in reaction. They're reactive versus proactive, right? And we're trying to always be better. and do better and be more efficient, save time, it's all about like cost savings and time, right? So, but we live in a different world. Right? So in terms of like, you mentioned you started networking through BNI. Was this live events or was this through Zoom or digital?
Oh yeah, so it's a referral. As I said, it's a referral marketing platform based on chapters, and you actually physically meet every week.
Okay,
And we
perfect.
start really early in the morning. And as I said, out of BNI, you just meet so many different types of businesses and business owners. So through that, I also joined another networking group. It's closer to a mastermind, a bigger mastermind group called Ascentive. I know they're also in different parts of the world. But it comes down to that, is networking with like-minded people where you take a step back, you have that level of trust, you can share your issues, you can share some challenges, and you hear from other business owners on how or what they think and how or what kind of solutions they had and how they surpass these challenges.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. Like just being committed, one, first off, and surround yourself with people that are also looking to be committed, right?
Yeah.
And successful. And they'll do whatever it takes. They're probably in the same kind of playing field as you. Like they are at the same stages, right? And that's important as well. Either same sector, same niche, or same stage because of value, right? Valuation of your company in terms of revenue. So you want to surround yourself with people alike so that you can grow together, get to know them and evolve together. So that's awesome. Do you do like conferences as well? Like, do you go on
Right
live
now,
conferences?
everything's virtual.
Okay.
So at the moment, everything moved to online and Zoom. I think it'll still be a few more weeks or a couple more months, maybe. God knows. But yeah, everything's virtual at the moment.
That's awesome. And then in terms of like, where do you see yourself go like from here? Now that you're a business owner, you've been doing this for multiple years. What does success look like, and what really drives you today?
Um, so I see this WebQuest growing as an agency based in Dubai. I see WebQuest being the agency in the region, especially when it comes to Arabic SEO. So everything when it comes to online, in terms of even content, Arabic is far behind most of the other major languages in the world. So I think there's a big opportunity there as well, especially now that more and more international brands are paying more attention to their online presence in Arabic. So there's a lot there. And also, the startup scene in the region has really picked up over the years. So there's hunger for everything digital. So yeah, I'm very optimistic about the future. Where I see myself as well. So after, as I'm running this, I see myself starting something new within the same space as well very soon. Also related to SEO and Arabic SEO as well. Main driver, honestly, is my family more than anything else, right? So expecting a baby in 3.5 months. That's a big driver. But yeah, I think that's mainly how it is.
That's amazing. And I think that's, goal setting, right? You have your own personal goals and your family goals, right? And your personal goals. And if you have a key driver like marriage or family responsibility, children, or you have parents that you want to take care of, like all these are pillars that you need to really establish and figure out. Because if you don't have these goals, then why are you working? Like, what is the purpose of it, right? So you need to have like bigger goals. And I love hearing that. Like, I have a young child. So for me, it's like making sure that he's on a well-foot ground where he's brought up well, he understands, right and wrong. And just as a parent, you do the best you can to hopefully do something that matters and has an impact, right?
Yeah,
So
definitely. So
and in terms of community wise, I know you mentioned you were now doing some mentoring as well. So how has that played a huge role in your business and your life now?
I think it's an essential part because of the pain I went through when I was on my own. There really wasn't a lot in terms of mentoring options out there 10, 15 years ago. Almost nothing. So yeah, for me, I'd like to help out because I know how ugly it is when you're on your own and trying to figure things out, so that's where I stand. So I do mentoring when it comes to digital marketing and SEO, startups, and always advocate to goal setting, broaden your network, set up some sort of mastermind groups with people that you trust, other business owners. It's crucial because as you progress and as they all progress, you'll just help each other out. It's not a smooth drive all the time. You will hit some road bumps, and you need people around you that you trust and can go, seek advice or help, or, just bounce ideas off every now and then. It's much better than having everything play out in your head.
No, it's amazing to hear because I love, the fact that we give back, right? As much as we can, either time or monetary, but I think the big thing is support, right? And people value that more than ever. Like you can just buy stuff for people, but they don't get true value from it, right? So if you actually commit time to really help them, it goes a long way and is memorable as well. And they'll see and hopefully remember that more than just buying stuff for them, right?
Yep.
So thanks a lot. I really appreciate your time. How can listeners get a hold of you, reach out to your business, and connect with you?
Absolutely. Thanks, John. So I'm on LinkedIn, Mazen Aloul. I'm also on Twitter at Mazen Aloul, or our website is webquestseo.com. So you can figure that out or connect there. Everything's online. You can fill out a form. But yeah, personally, I'm very active on LinkedIn and Twitter more than anything else.
Amazing. Yeah, I'll have all your details on the show notes. It was a lot of fun getting to know you. This was my first time interviewing someone out in United Emirates.
Nice.
And I know it was one of the places I do want to visit when it's a little bit cooler because I hear it's really hot out there. So
yeah, so I would say avoid June to October.
Oh.
Second half of October is fine, but the rest of the year is beautiful. So yeah, November, December, all the way. January, February, a little bit cooler. Nothing like, probably it's like your spring, not even.
Oh, wow.
But the rest of the year is really nice. And there's a lot to see and a lot to do. So I'd be more than happy to show you around if you make it out here.
Yeah, it's one of those places that for sure in my bucket list. I do want to travel a lot of places in the world. So definitely I'll hit you up. Thanks a lot, Mazen.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, John. All the best, man.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.